dusty road. See my brother growing older. The lines in his face tell the story of a younger man. He's a tradesman from the old school. Had to work like a dog and he ain't no fool. Got a name for himself, but it's not a him a bit of price. He worked his fingers down to the bone. Always took a gamble on and on. And crushed the beans and soon glued to the wall. But the tree tried to take him, put him 6 feet under. Snap at the crack and the sound of thunder. His guardian angel worked overtime through the night. It's been a long time since the days of old. Till all else is behind the needle in the sky. I can still see my brother standing there with a younger man. Always work to be done. Keep it in the family, that's what they say. I was the first little brother.
Winning to me is the fight on the inside. That's the win. You know, we carry a lot of this like ego, this kind of like demons, these things that are inside of us, right? And just like the boxing, it's really like a mirror to yourself. Like you get all your insecurities, all your anxieties just put on the table because you just start to feel it, and then you know, getting in there and clearing your mind and conquering that and silencing all those demons, shutting it all up is conquering. That's what I would describe as conquering the fear, conquering the demons, and kind of understanding it from more of an objective point of view. Like one thing, like when I talk about this feeling that you get from boxing, right? Like this unity that you get, you go from this multiplicity to like being kind of here in the moment, and like there's so much more control, I think, of yourself and of your own emotions, and of your impulses. So I think a lot of my demons, a lot of people's demons that they face, like they have these problems, maybe you have like issues at home, and you have these internal, like this maybe a depression, or you're a very angry person. This boxing gives you this key to like to just be more in control. You know, anybody, so it's like, it's kind of like you have these inner demons that some of them are chattering in your ear, they're telling you that you can't do it, that you're not strong enough, that you're not good enough, and then you have some inner demons that are like, oh, I'm this big tough guy, And no matter what, it's like you're always like brought up and you're always grounded. Like anybody who's got this big, who walks in here, who's got this big ego that there's this tough guy, they get into the boxing ring and it's eliminated. It's like they're humbled very quickly. And somebody like for me, when I was first started, it was much more like empowering, and like my inner demons were like doubt, and like I didn't have like much confidence, and like those little demons of like those little things in your head that says you can't do something. That is what I think I conquered. And I think that it's a very positive feeling that it gives me, and it's given other people. But it's also a very goal-directed feeling. It's like anybody who's achieved anything great they had tunnel vision on that goal. Like they were just going for it. It's I think the concept of flow to me that is like that unity, that single, like I'm here right now and I'm just focused. I'm in the moment. I'm present. I'm not preoccupied with anything in the past or the future. I'm together. I'm right now, and I'm going after it. You know, and I think and that's where the fear I think comes into. I think that fear can kind of hold us back from a lot of things that we do, but. So boxing is just like this. It's this thing that you do that throws you outside your comfort zone over and over and over again. You're constantly getting thrown outside of your comfort zone, and you're attacking that fear over and over again. And if it wasn't for boxing, I definitely wouldn't have done a lot of the things in my life.
I think anything that affords you the opportunity to challenge yourself, to work hard towards very specific goals, to train your body and mind and spirit to grow and to take on challenges and tasks. I think all those things have tremendous benefits.
But you step by step, you keep working hard, you keep going towards that goal, and then you take that leap of faith where you're going outside your comfort zone, and you kind of challenge that fear, and then you overcome it.
You live and die with every fight. You live and die with every win. And so, from a positive psychology standpoint, boxing is the purest, or one of the purest tests that could be. Almost like a soldier going into battle. I imagine jumping out of an airplane is a little bit like this. It's putting everything on the line for direct cause and a challenge. And it's sort of a combination of jumping out of an airplane, running a marathon, and having a chess match with everybody watching. And your mind, your spirit, and your body is being put to the test.
I'm just this troubled kid. He's kind of screwed up my life. I'm not doing good in high school. And the boxing, like coming in here and taking a kid like that and having him come into that boxing ring and get beat up and punched in the face and have that like in the moment feeling is just taking like a bucket of water and just splashing it in my face. And it came at the absolute like perfect time, and really just centered. I just became so centered from that. It was just chaos, complete storm, right? Complete chaos. And I still had trouble surrounding me, but then I just became the eye of the storm, right? You found that calmness, but before it's just complete chaos. I used to do all kinds of drugs and stuff in high school. I overdosed when I was in high school. I overdosed on some prescription medication. And the kid, one of my best friend from high school, he overdosed with me, and we were both spent the nights. I spent one night in the hospital, and he spent 3 nights in the hospital. And the fact that I remember that was probably one of the hardest things I had to go through, because I remember I had to talk to his parents, and kind of explain to them what we did while he was still in the hospital. And he was like in a completely like crazy, like they don't know what's wrong with him or if he's gonna ever come out of this state. They thought he might be in a vegetated state for a long time. So I mean, that to me, that point in my life was that I turned everything around after that. That was like, all right, now that's where I turned my focus to boxing for a while. The best boxing fight, or the best experience I had from boxing, for me was a loss. It was like this, it was just as I was describing. It was like the toughest fight I've ever been in, but like my friends and family were there, and like, you could just feel the energy in the building, and the people, and me and this kid were just going at it, and afterwards I was completely destroyed. I had like marks all over my face, and I lost, and it did not even cross my mind as no disappointment at all when the guy didn't raise my hand. I just did not care. It just, you know, everybody in the whole building has total respect for you. Everybody's just cheering you on, patting you, and the kid that you just fought is just like, oh man, that was just crazy. Like, the most blissful contentment. Like, I just pushed myself to the absolute maximum. I got through that, and I'm okay, and I feel great.
There's a big focus on mindfulness and getting the most out of each present moment. That is very powerful. And that's, you know, it's one of the things we study in positive psychology. And you try to walk the walk and talk the talk and live in a way that is that matches what we study and what we improve.
It's being more in control, where I'm not going to give in to those impulses. Or if somebody on the street or somebody at the bar or in any public place like says something to me or sticks their tongue out, tries to intimidate you, like, it's like whatever, you know. You're not as reactive. You're much more proactive, or you're much more picking your actions. It's not just like somebody gives you that input and all of a sudden I'm going to react. Now I realize, like, you can go a whole lifetime without having, you know, a real present moment, you know. And people are just so preoccupied, and like our mind, we're all over the place.
We're born with predispositions, and optimism and pessimism clearly have a genetic tendency. And what happens in our lives and the choices we make are also very powerful. Somebody who has a negative natural outlook can learn to be more positive. And someone with a positive natural outlook can get discouraged and become more negative based on the way they live. So it's an interaction of nature and nurture. But we can clearly affect, the brain has incredible plasticity, and through mindfulness and meditation and all kinds of cognitive therapies that they have, which have you monitor your own thought processes and then challenge pessimistic thinking, catastrophizing, your ability to notice that you're making a challenging situation worse is huge. It's the kind of things where the challenge is clear, the task is difficult, and the process brings you to a higher level. If anything that does that will have a positive outcome for people. We have to find our passions. And if it's art, or if it's music, or if it's boxing, find your passions and pursue them.
You only know, you only realize the way you're living until you're on the other side. Like, until I got into that ring and I just like, oh my God, I just get out and like, there's blood all over myself, and it doesn't matter though, you have that blissful contentment, like in the moment feeling. It's only at that point you realize, wow, the way I've been living is like, you know, fascinated with just all the wrong things, you know. Yeah. So I would say, like, yeah, it's like, it's only when you reach the light, right? When you realize you were in darkness.
This is Erica, and you're listening to Tea Time, bringing your arts and leisures news and gossip. Today we're going to talk about our Twitter feed. Thank you so much for tweeting every single time. We appreciate our listeners. We love that everybody's listening. Don't forget to tune in every single Friday from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. as well as for our other shows at Radio St.
My long-term goal is to actually be a radio talk show host, to help diverse communities, to help other people project their voices. I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories. I love talking, and I like entertaining people, like I mentioned before. There's a lot of things in the media where people don't really recognize a lot, so what I want to do is be a voice for other people who don't have it or who aren't loud enough for it. So as my long-term goal, you know, being a radio talk show host, probably promoting diversity issues, you know, things that other people face and things like that. So that way it can help other people. I feel like with my opportunities, you know, in college, and ultimately I can help others who, you know, to see the light, to actually, you know, go and dream big. It's possible for everyone, so.
As a result, those who expect to learn a lot
My
will
sister and I were
participate.
born here in the United States, but our parents are from Colombia. They were born and raised in Colombia, and then they came here in the early 90s to try to find a better American life, just like everyone else does. They liked to hear the opportunities that they had here, and then they decided to have us, my twin sister and I, and then things weren't working out too much because of their legal status, so they decided to move back, and by that time I was around 5. And then we stayed there for like 3 years, so I lived in Colombia for 3 years, and things were just, they weren't really well. We didn't have a lot of opportunities that I have here. I was in ballet when I was here, but over there we didn't have like a lot of activities or anything like that. So my parents decided to come back again, and they came back again with a tourist visa as well. My sister and I, since we're American citizens, obviously we can like come back. And then when we came back, they kind of extended their stay. They just stayed here. When we were in Colombia, my dad had like a small chicken coop, and then we would take care of the chickens. And sometimes my dad would get an order, hey, we need 12 chickens. So my dad, you know, went, took care of the chickens, and then my sister and I, you know, taking out the feathers, things like that, like a lot of farm work that we did over there. So that was definitely different. We had, all of our family is in Colombia, so we had, the only difference was that we had all of our cousins like near us, and like our aunts and uncles and everything like that, so that was really good. The American dream is different for everyone. A lot of people that come to this country, they think that the American dream involves owning a house and, you know, owning the up-to-date car or anything, things like that. So for us, my parents, their American dream is for us to be successful, for my sister and I to actually have the opportunity to go to a college, because that's another thing that if we would have stayed in Colombia, we probably wouldn't have the chance. When they came here, you know, the second time around, they couldn't go back, and they couldn't see their family members. So both my grandfathers died, my grandmother died. So we didn't have, you know, and they couldn't go see them, or a lot of my relatives have passed away, like some tragically, some, you know, of old age. So it was very hard for them to see that slowly, one by one of their loved ones would go away, and it's like, you don't want to receive criticism from another, you know, your family members back there, where it's just like, well, why aren't you coming here, you know? But it was very hard for them, you know, and the fact that the last time that they saw them was 10 years ago or 12 years ago, and now like you really won't get to see them. It was very heartbreaking for them to know that it kind of felt like they were trapped in this country, you know, and it seems very unfair, although it's the land of opportunities and everything like that, you know, the fact that they can't go where they actually came from, that was really hard. I always live by a positive note. I always do. Even when I'm down, you know, I try to put a smile on my face, because just like, hey, the next person might have it worse, you know? So it's definitely where you try to appreciate every little thing that you have. I like to read positive feedback from other people. Sometimes, you know, I'll give a call to my mom or something where it's just like a constant reminder, like, okay, like this is what I'm working for, or this is what I'm working towards. So it gives me a boost where it's just like, you know, all right, I gotta get back on my game, you know, and if I feel a certain way, well, maybe some music or maybe something to get my mind off of it. But yeah, I like talking to other people.
The music I have, yeah, that I write is definitely a message, and it's a message without vulgarity, because there's enough of that today. simplicity, old school, and that's what they told me in Nashville, that a lot of my writing was retro. They call me Retro Joe down there because it's not marketable today. It's 1970s, and it's clear. There's a message of a positiveness and hope and stories of just, you know, things that have happened in my life and others, and just keeping it simple and not so cliche, commercialized. So. Keeping it basic and keeping it old school and simple, and sometimes I get ridiculed for that, but I just keep on beating my own drum. My faith within my family has inspired me to be who I am today as a musician, I guess. It's carved out many of my paths of the music I play, because the way I see it is, when I was young, they told me when I was 18, well, if you go down there, you're going to get into alcohol and drugs, and there's going to be bad roads, and you're going to go this way, and if you know, it's going to be a dark road. And so playing in clubs from 17 on through my 20s, there was no drugs, there was none of that stuff that they said I would get into, and the music would lead me down a bad road. And I have a lot of friends that are in their, you know, in their 40s and 50s now, that had played that music, that just went down really bad roads locally, and folks that have kind of made it. So my faith in you know, just keeping you know, simplistic, and has kind of kept me focused on what I do.
You got nothing. It's a low down there to do.
I've always been a music lover since I can remember. I think I was 4 years old and I asked for my first stereo because I had such a love for music. And I was a heck of an air guitarist for many years. And then I started playing trumpet in middle school. I have a progressive eye disease, retinitis pigmentosa. It's a lack of protein in the retina. So I knew at a young age I was gonna lose my sight. So I wanted to be either a race car driver or a musician, so I figured the race car thing was out. So I stuck with the music. And the trumpet, a couple years, drums a couple years, guitar a couple years, and a couple friends of mine played guitar and drums, and we couldn't find a bass player, so I bought a bass and started playing bass, and 30 years later I'm still playing it. Whether you make $1 at it or not, that's not why a musician plays. A musician plays because they love to play. I have other issues too. Physically, I have spinal stenosis, which is a sciatic nerve problem. It's pinched in the hips constantly, so I have electric wires in my back for that. And then I accidentally stumbled down a set of stairs a couple of years ago and crushed my arm. So I couldn't play for about a year, but they rebuilt it from here to here, and it seems to be working good. I had this custom bass built because I needed a shorter neck. I can't reach as far as I used to, but that's, I've been in, I don't know how many bands I could tell you. Cover bands, original / cover bands. The fulfillment that it's brought to me was, believe it or not, I'm a very outgoing person, but as a young man, I was extremely shy. And music and being on stage and being the front man in a band at 17 years old, playing for folks that were in their 30s, was something that helped me really just, you know, get my confidence
with society, and it really needed that, and that's what music has done for me. And it helped me to public speak with people, you know, because again, I'm very laid back and just very, I don't know, just reserved, you know. So it really helped me to be forced to public speak, being a frontman, lead singer, in different projects throughout my life.
I think the overall losing my sight to the retinitis pigmentosa, it was a gradual loss over the years, so I think it gradually just filled in and helped me compensate the whole way with that. So I never really got a deep depression out of it because I always had the music to fill me. It filled me completely, so I never really got depressed about it or down on it. I mean, you know, I could go on and on the times that I you know, have had down times in life, and then just, you know, one good jam or one good rehearsal or one good gig just totally cleans the slate. It just cleans the slate, and that's what life is. It's cleaning the slate. And I also found that the more sight I lost, the more comfortable I got with the idea of blindness, because the fear of the unknown is often worse than the outcome.
You know, it's not easy. It's not easy, but yeah, life. I knew I had some wisdom at 18 or 19 years old that life was short, and I took notes quickly, and I followed through with what I do, and I may not set the world on fire, but I'm enjoying what I do from inside.
I will say, you know, I'm proud to be an American, and I've had my share of day jobs, but with my other physical disabilities, I can't do that at the moment. But I have, you know, to play music, it's not required so many hours, so I can still do that. But so I collect a disability check and some other government subsidies that helps me be able to be a musician. And you know, any disabled person out there, if they're willing to live on and be happy with, you know, basically a minimum wage life, you truly can be anything you want in this country.